All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again here to the IEM Katowice group stages here. It's the B stream, and it is going to be Na'Vi versus North. Now, Na'Vi up to a great start in their group, just like C9 was, but C9 just dropped their first game, and this could very well be the first drop of Na'Vi as well. North currently sits at a 1-1 record, so middle of the road. They're not really risking anything or, on the brink of winning anything yet. But Na'Vi, if they can propel forward to a 3-0 record, then they're looking really, really proficient, and, they're going to be just on the border of possibly just pushing their way through to an easy first place here in their group and an easy semifinal placement as well.
Well, that's the great news for Na'Vi, seeing all the other teams sort of scrapping it out below them. If they can keep this winning way going, I mean, they're just going to straight up cruise through to the semi-finals, and it's going to be down to who gets the last two spots in the quarterfinals. So yeah, I mean, they will be favourites coming into this. Even if North had won their first couple games, I think they'd still be favourites. Na'Vi, they have so much potential, they have so much firepower in their team, that they just look like they could potentially just cruise control on Cbblestone. But the very intriguing thing to me, other than obviously the fact this group standings and how these two teams are going to play, they haven't actually played each other since the 23rd of October 2016. We have not seen these two teams play each other since then. Now, that's almost a lifetime in CS terms. Teams come and go, players come and go in that amount of time. That's a good 4 or 5 months away. So I'm very curious to see how these two teams are going to be coming at each other on Cbblestone, a map where North just beat Virtus.pro 16-13 earlier on in the group.
It's going to make it very, very interesting indeed, especially with, again, how well Na'Vi had shown up here before. But it's interesting, right, that Na'Vi shows up so strong at the beginning of it. Obviously, we can't necessarily attest to how good those performances were, since we didn't get too good of a glimpse at the other games just yet. But previous to this and some of the other tournaments, they weren't really looking so hot. It was seeming like that this new roster wasn't really working out so well for them, and the change-ups, they were in a bit of a slump, and all of a sudden they show up here and they're stomping teams all over the place. So this is going to be a very interesting tell here now. If North will be able to not only upset against VP on this map, but do it against Na'Vi here too, who had a great start and already has a great record here. If they can kind of bring Na'Vi back down to earth and really make this group incredibly chaotic, as there's so many variables in play right now, depending on what happens. And over on the mainstream, by the way, guys, we also do have the game between SK and VP being played there. Now, those teams both have 2 losses at this point. And obviously they're playing each other, so that means one team has the capability to knock each other out. Of course, that is pending the results from some of our other teams so far in the group stage. And there may be, some other teams that end up with 3 losses as well, which could lead us into a bit of a tiebreaker scenario. But that's yet to be seen. Yesterday, 3 losses became sort of the telling point for a knockout. But it seems like everything's kind of been thrown into the fray with this group, so we may end up with a couple more of those. And it could lead us into a tie situation for 3rd place.
Yeah, that's the madness of these kind of group stages. Every single round of games that gets played can change things astronomically. There's so many potential possibilities as to how this will go down. We have 3 games remaining for these teams. They've all played 2 or 3 games, so 3 or 2, depending on which teams you're looking at, remaining overall in the groups. They can still pave their way back into this, but for Na'Vi to win would catapult them and have quite a bit of distance between themselves and 2nd and 3rd place if they were to take this. It's an important game for North as well. They lose this, they slump into a bunch of different teams and then have to try and fight their way out. Cbblestone is potentially going to get himself a kill, and it's going to be MSL that comes out on top, and this A take has been to perfection so far. Bomber about to get planted. Flamey, Edward, and Guardian have a 5v3 ahead of them.
And, it's MSL and Easy that be able to move in and find those first couple of kills, instantly shutting down Sipple and C's, not giving them any room to maneuver here. And North, 100% locked into this bomb site. So this is going to be rough. However, Flamey, with 2 taps out of nowhere, Magic Boy trying to lurk around on this flank. He does take down Guardian in the process, but now he's also going to be able to take down Edward. Config, this is Flamey, finding 1 more kill. He's got 2 more to go. I don't think he's going to be able to win the round. He might have the ace up his sleeve here in a moment if KGB decides to just take the duel. Depends on if he wants to swing back out of the way. He does. Cajun B is seen in the corner behind the flower pot over there. Oh, ace will be denied, unfortunately. And it'll be a team ace for North. But still, good stuff from Flamey, just not enough to win the round.
Yeah, great attempts by Flamey. That puts him at $2,750. So if they wanted to go for a 4C, he could easily get himself a UMP or really bolster that buy. Instead, he's just going to be getting P250. So watch out for Flamey. When the next buy does come into play, he will certainly have a solid buy at that. But for the time being, it is actually going to be an E-Cup. They're not going to be putting too much into this one. A lot of CT sides will force in the second round after losing the pistol, but Na'Vi are the exception to the rule. They're going to have all of their players situated on the A side of the map. Unfortunately for them, though, North are about to progress onto B.
It's just going to be North pretty much rushing into B, and unfortunately for Na'Vi, like you mentioned, they have this big stack over here towards A, but the problem is they're not going to see any action at all. It's going to be going into the complete wrong site. Guardian can hear the nades being deployed right now, so Na'Vi more than likely is just going to end up, with the exception of Guardian, deploying around towards these B halls here to look out for exits, and they'll have to kind of give this round away and allow North to get the easy 2-0 start.
It's exactly the way that Na'Vi are probably going to play this. I'd imagine they will try and stack together and get an exit frag or two. Now North, here's the other thing as well. North may think that Na'Vi have pistols and Kevlar and be forced into a false sense of security and trying to take those weapons away. And that's where the P250 and USPs could maybe claim an extra kill or two that they wouldn't ordinarily have got. So I actually like that Na'Vi are playing this one and almost faking out like they do have some kind of a buy. Seized is going to land the shot onto MSL, and that's the UMP now trading hands to Guardian. And additionally, if they stack up like this, it increases their chances of being able to save one of these weapons into the next round, where I assume they will buy. Either way, though, Edward is dead. And that will... Sorry, Edward's all alive.
Yeah,
His team is dead. I'm not getting too far ahead myself. Looks like he will actually save and stops any more farming from coming into effect. So, do Na'Vi buy here? Yes, they do. The reason for their first eco.
North at the same time, of course, just saving up with the same guns that they had in the previous buy. So having to reinvest, of course, mainly just MSL there, as you can see, but the rest back onto the train. And for Na'Vi, now with the investment rolling in here on the third round, we'll see if they can put a stop to North's really push forward here. And, well, they're going to be facing off against the aggression right and early, as we can see, though, but Edwards denied. He had a good lineup of players. AZ with 2, Simple trading out for 1, gets a second, seizes behind him if he needs to support, which he will now, but he's also been dinked, and KGB and Config are going to combo those 2 frags together. Flamey's alive as the last man standing, but look at how low he's got KGB. Just 4 HP for him. The flashbang's good, connects on a Config. There's no follow-up from Flamey, and that was the only flash and only bit of utility he had. So as he does push out into the open, Config's there, and he's able to shut down the situation, putting North up to 3.
Excellent start as well for the Danes, fending off that buy that Na'Vi put in. I think as soon as they got onto the site in the previous rounds, in round 2 I should mention, with the USPs and the P250 getting kills, they must have realised that the buy would be coming in, so they played that very smart. They now know that's going to be likely an eco, or not too much invested in, so the MP7, Mac 10 comes into play. But Simple and Edwards have equalised the economy somewhat and gone for a UMP and a P250 with Kevlar. So Na'Vi could maybe have a surprise, and I'll be hoping that surprise factor is able to cut North down in size, maybe trade some of those AKs across into their own hands. They're going to go for a boost, but Magis is just waiting for this one. Oh, he switched weapons! It very nearly cost him his life. It takes 96 health off him, but he still lands the Mac 10 regardless. MSL's going to get tagged down from Guardian's P250 and eventually finished off. But it's going to be totally fine for North. It's just an MP7 that they lose.
Flamey is positioning behind the statue here. We'll see if he can do any damage. It's not looking likely. Half the clip's already gone there from the CZ. And yeah, it's going to be a swift cleanup from North. Again, only losing MSL along the way. That seems to be actually a bit of a common theme, unfortunately. Yeah, he's sitting at 4 deaths. The most of anyone else on his team is sitting at 2 for AZ and Magic. So he tends to be the designated guy that has to go down, unfortunately, a lot of these rounds. But beyond that, it's still very clean from North. Pretty much everyone else is keeping themselves alive in most of these situations. But now, finally, Na'Vi, beyond the bit of an awkward phase there, we do see another big buy coming out from them. And this time, we've got the op sitting on Guardians. Let's see if he can do some work with this.
Yeah, without Kevlar, will be a little bit of a mark on that record. He is sat at the back of the statue. 1-for-1 trade, but it is an M4 being traded out for the Mac 10. Not going to be too bothersome as far as North are aware. And now they're going to start to force their way on the site. Molly onto the tree. Seized is going to get tagged up through the smoke, but actually they don't end up going for it. Instead, they're focusing more on the bomb plant and saying, come at us, bros, to the CTs. They have to move through fire and smoke if they want to do just that. Now that it has dissipated, they may try this retake, and indeed they will. C's going to be taking point, goes in first, looking up towards the platform, but MSL puts him down. And now it's on to Guardian, Flamey, and Simple. Although they are starting to thin out the herd a little bit more. Simple and Guardian, can they even get this clutch?
Guardians already started to fall back, so I don't even think they're going to attempt it. They're just going to give this one up. They're going to pull back for the save again. North continues forward, up to 5 now. pushing in, and that's 2 gun rounds they managed to push themselves forward to. So off to a really good propelling start here, and Na'Vi looking a bit shaky on this CT side. Not seeing any of the individual performances show up, with the exception of Flamey on that pistol round. There's been nothing remarkable so far from the squad.
Yeah, they are certainly struggling. This is the North that we know they have the capabilities of being. Na'Vi struggling, but as a result, again, of keeping themselves with a couple of weapons here and there, will be another buy. This time Guardian does have Kevlar. But that wasn't really the issue last round. They were losing more players towards drop zone and on platform. Guardian was never really in the action. This time it doesn't seem to be the same case. The bomb is out on the A side of the map, just in mid.
It's North spread out again into the default opener here. We're probably going to see some push work its way over here towards A long a little bit, as they'll probably move in for just a tad of control. Seized, though, up close here at the mid doors in connector. May try to get a little bit aggressive in lineup, but flank on these guys. But out in the open, spots Cage and B, grabs the frag there. He hasn't seen the other two, but that is the bomb going down. So he's going to get up onto these steps, try to win out the battle here versus Config. Config will take another route, though, wrapping back out around, prioritizing the bomb first. Definitely not a bad thing to do, but it is still a bit of a cautious mission, as I don't think they are fully aware of where Seized is hiding currently, whether he actually fell back or proceeded forward here. If they underestimate that, then that could be an issue, but Seized doesn't account for that window there, and that's going to lead to his death pretty quickly. And we also saw MSL grabbing a kill, I believe against Guardian there too, to knock him out. So this goes 4v3 pretty quickly, and North basically make the map their oyster, but I imagine they're going to A-split this in a second, as they already have Magiskin drop.
The other side of the coin as well is Seized should, pardon me, Edward should be able to get this kill, and indeed he wants to Magisk, bring it to a 3-on-3. If Na'Vi did lose this, they go 2-on-1 as well. And then the group is pretty much open across all 5 or 6 teams.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is that that whole group just gets tossed into chaos if Na'Vi loses this game. Oh, easy for Flamey.
Line up for him, the bomb's also been dropped out, so Config has to make a move. He has the flashbang landing in, but can't get the kill, finally does. There's not going to be enough time, though. Simple can just sit where he is, knife the wall to his heart's content, and he will have the round. But Na'Vi lose 4 weapons in that one, and that is going to sting.
On the board at the very least, though, so they do stop North's triumphant push up to a 16-0. However, in the process of that, North were able to build up a decent bank, so they're right back into the buy here now. AK's across the board, along with the op still going on for Cage and Beat. Guardian with his too. Look at the lack of utility on Na'Vi, though. I mean, you mentioned again that how expensive that round was, and it's certainly showing, as only Simple and Edward have any utility at all going into this round.
Yeah, so we get into that similar situation to what we saw in the last game as well for Cloud9, where they finally get around, but then if it gets taken away from you instantly, it's actually almost in a worse position, because you don't have that round loss anymore. You don't have that capability of getting that momentum in quick succession. You're hoping for some kind of a force buy win in that sense. So Na'Vi, they have got to grab onto this with both hands. North have enough funds to buy for the next 2 rounds or so anyway. So it's going to be constant aggression, constant pressure applied to Na'Vi. Simple in the alcove. They do have Molotovs in Cage and B, AZ, and MSL's hands. So if one of those does go into the alcove, things are going to get pretty messy for Simple. The flash does tag on Config. Is he going to check this corner? So many times you see players sneaking in there and reaping the rewards. And Simple is going to go to town with 1. And now the flank from the side isn't good enough. Guardian Edward lay it to rest.
Yeah, AZ's trying to sneak his way in over here on the ramp, and he may find himself in position versus Flamey. Gets that kill, but in the meantime, Cajun B was dispatched of over there up on the ramp. Nice shot from AZ, though. Rolls in through the doorway and destroys Edward. The 1v2, he's still got 30 seconds to play with, so the time is not all gone yet. I think he had a double think on that one, though. It looked like he wanted to push through his own smoke a second ago, but realized he threw his smoke, so couldn't do that. But moving out over here, now he's low on time. Simple's going to challenge him, loses a quarter of his HP there, and in peeking Guardian, he'll finish the job, putting Na'Vi up to 2 now.
Well done by Na'Vi. It was looking pretty bad at one point when the players were getting outside the window and actually coming through the double doors and drop zone at the same time. Almost a 3-pronged hit simultaneously. They do live to fight another day. North, as anticipated, will go for another buy. It's not going to include an AWP. Cajun B hasn't really had the most use out of that today, I think it's safe to say, as he is currently on 3 kills. So AKs across the board, whereas Guardian, of course, is going to dig deep and get himself his own trusty sniper rifle.
And look at the stack from Na'Vi, too. They've read into this one. They've already got 4 players positioned here. So they're expecting North to go for just an all-in attempt. Even Simple's already halfway crossed onto the A-bomb site here, too. So there's a lot of players to dispatch up here. Edward fails in his first attempt, though. So now Guardian and Flamey have to try and defend this one. Flamey chiming in for one. Guardian's behind the smoke wall, though, so he can't spot anything. AZ picking up both of those crucial entries. And North get themselves onto this site in a really clean way. But now Na'Vi moving back in, looking for the quick retake, but all of them just get destroyed. MSL with 2 kills up on top of the tree boost. And C's now alone. He had some of the low, but just couldn't pull off the 1v3.
Tactical timeout called by Na'Vi, as they now have very little to play with. 2 players on 1400 could suggest a force buy is imminent rather than double ecoing. If there's just one player on 1400, they may think about just going for the save this round, and that player goes for like a max 7, which is very much a viable choice on a map like Cobblestone and likes of Drop or whatever. But with 2 players being on 1400, that very well could put Na'Vi into a force buy here. I'm curious to see what they go for. I mean, MSL has already read the situation and says, I'm going for the SMG. I feel like this is going to be an eco. So we shall see if Na'Vi play along with that, or if they decide to rock the boat.
Yeah, it's a bit of a precarious situation, as obviously, again, they just got reset, so this could prove itself to be double save territory, since you have Edward and Guardian down at around 1400 right now, so forcing is not completely out of the question if they're going to plan to save in the next round anyway, but if they do want to try to take a risk on the force in the 10th round, then they might want to save here, but that doesn't really seem to be the case, as they are just going to buy up right now.
Well, surprisingly enough, Simple's gone down to $500 with Kevlar, but the 2 players that were originally low on funds, which is Guardian and Seized, haven't bought anything. I can understand Guardian because obviously he's the AWPer, but Seized on $1,100 with nothing in the bank. So curious to see what they'll go with the next round. It's not like they have full round loss bonus either. They only have 1 round of loss bonus. This would be the second if they were to lose this, as you assume they would. Yeah. So very much a sketchy position for Na'Vi to be in. And that's why they called the pause, like straight up. They needed to be completely sure as to what was going to be coming against them. Cajun B, though, is going to get the AK frag onto Guardian. As he does a barrel roll to his death, Simple's going to follow suit. And North firm favourites to take the 7-2 lead now.
Yeah, Edward, not much you can do with just a measly little USP inside of the chicken coop. So for Flamey and Seized, well, Flamey tries to be sneaky, but Hazy reads into that one. And now it's just Seized sitting outside T-spawn here. Not a whole lot that he can do. Again, can play around here to try and find some exits from North, but it seems like North are more hunting him down than it is just trying to get out of the bomb site here. It'll be a 7th from North. And they are continuing to drudge forward here with a very, very strong T side that Na'Vi just can't seem to stop.
Now, we did see a brief bit of resilience coming in with those 2 rounds in a row, but since then, again, it's been North just capitalizing on any weaknesses. And with not a single kill in play either, Na'Vi getting no bonus, no kill rewards. It's going to hurt them that little bit more. Seems to take it down a frag that maybe something, but instead he ends up actually dying for that peak. And this is what I was talking about before. With going for that, you're going to be ecoing again anyway. So it's, I mean, this could be North on 8-2 already on the T side. Just getting out of control now for Na'Vi.
Yeah, the math behind it still makes sense though. Is instead of just forcing all in for 1 buy with utility and everything like that, they just kind of do like 2. They just kind of do these 2 half buys, and they should still have enough cash in the next round here as they go for this investment. So everything ends up making sense at the end of the day. I think they were in double save territory anyway there. But for Na'Vi, it's going to be a big stack on the B bomb site 4, and pretty much all of them are wrapped near these steps and towards Broken Wall here too, and they're in smoke, so this could be a bit of a nasty surprise. Flamey finding at least one of them. Guardian trying to circle around the backside there too, but it doesn't work out. Flamey chimes in for that 1 kill. All they have left is Simple. Tries to play patiently, but he's got to do a double take, as he doesn't realize he sees Simple there at first. But for Edward here, now all alone in the world with a 1v4 set against him, and a smoke wall as well. Oh, MSL, cheeky with the spray. Didn't catch him first off, so Edward, hello, picks up the kill. It's not going to last long much after that one, though, as Magix does get the immediate trade.
I think with this double eco, as opposed to going for the force buy, as most teams would do, and then having to buy in this round, it goes to show the desire that Guardian has for an AWP. Because if they'd gone that way, he'd have like $4,200, $4,300. He'd be looking at something like an M4, maybe Kevlar, 1 nade alongside it. But he really wants that AWP as much as possible. So they sacrifice for that. The worry for me, though, is that Guardian hasn't really had any influence with his AWP. And that's purely because his team have got overrun elsewhere on the map. They've been plowing through drop zone. They've been going through platform with a bunch of nades. He hasn't really had the opportunity to tee off them. You can see now he's 4 and 8, and he's had the op a few times. It's not his fault necessarily, but it hasn't had the impact that you'd expect it to.
Well, now for Na'Vi, again, as they're still split up, they haven't really been able to read into North just yet, despite the dropping of MSL. North are going to group up, moving their way through the B halls and over towards that site now as everyone just evacuates from the outer courtyard here. Still a minute left on the clock, but this is going to turn itself into a very straightforward play. Don't even think we're actually going to have any drop pressure. Everyone will be pushing their way out over here towards Broken. And this is going to put a big task on Guardian, as currently, well, you have Edward along with C's both positioned to watch out, mainly for drop pressure currently, so they're focused on that. They're not really looking towards Broken Wall as the big pushing point. Out they go, though, and it's time for Guardian to shine. Oh, misses the first one. That's not good, and he just lost his teammate, and down goes Guardian, too. C's will push through the smoke, because he kind of has to here. They need some impact. Gets one, but immediately traded by Magisk, and now it's Flamey and Simple as the last two.
Again, just not really having that much impact in the round. Had a chance, didn't quite jump onto it, maybe. Simple and Flamey can dig them out of this huge ditch that is starting to get too much to breathe in. Flamey with his M4. Players to his left and right. There's the first one. Magis goes down. Not too many bullets left, though, in the chamber. Flamey. Oh, one tap onto Cajun. Hello. That's one hell of a shot. And now AZ's very low. Flamey could pull this off, and he's got it. Oh, my goodness, Flamey. That one tap was absurd. And it allows him to get the clutch out of nowhere.
It didn't look like he had a chance in the world to do that. North were just sweeping the site and we're about to knock him out, but then all of a sudden Flamey, yeah, that one tap shows up out of absolutely nowhere and brings his chances back from the stratosphere, back down to earth. And he clutches out that final 1v1 too. Beautiful stuff from him. And now Na'Vi back on the board a little bit. Still a lot of ground to make up, of course, and the reset potential is still there and alive. So for North, let's take a look. And they're going to look to respond to this pretty quickly.
Oh, they got to dust themselves down. I mean, those kind of clutches can put you on tilt. They have to, you know, cry into their round, so to speak. Be like, oh, well, we lost the round, but we're still 8-3 up. And maybe they could do what they did last time, which is reset Na'Vi and put them into an even worse position. But there's Flamey again, clearly feeling it. He will go down finally, but Edward on the other side of the map is going to stop any flank from coming into effect. And suddenly it's down to Ace. He goes for the spray. They will know that Edward was the last player left and the last seen on the platform, so AZ will be able to get this plant. Needs to be careful in case the balcony push is imminent, but it won't be. So plant in with a Molotov. Advantage to North.
Edward looking for it. He's got the headshot angle against Daisy here now. But he'll be stuck behind the shed. And this is the first one. AZ tries to go for the one tap there. Moves a little bit though, so the shot gets thrown off. And now running down the timer here. Edward's got to make a move sooner or later. Keep in mind, no kit for him. The Molotov blocks off his path. Just gonna jump around that though, but oh, AZ, the dirty headshot goes onto Edward there. Destroys him. And that's gonna put North right back in control of things, and it resets Na'Vi again.
Na'Vi must be distraught right now, especially Flamey, who is just firing off so many big kills. As soon as they start to get some momentum, it's cut right back again. Wind taken out of their sails. Eco. Full eco, actually. USPs and P2000. So he's going to try and take his frustrations out on the tree. And here come the flashes. It's just raining flashes over on the B side of the map. And it's also a hail of gunfire that's going to be finding its way. The weather forecast not looking good. Na'Vi getting ripped to shreds. North already on double digits. And it could get a whole lot worse for Na'Vi here. It could easily be a 12-3 because their funds into this round are not particularly great. 3,000s to 4,000s. Man, this is looking poor.
Yeah, it's certainly not looking good for Na'Vi indeed here, and it's looking great for the people that just want to see chaos in the groups, as that's becoming more and more likely. As if Na'Vi loses this one, like we said, they go down 2-1. That'll be the same record as Cloud9, and if they continue to lose, and then there is potential for somehow that they would end up with similar records to SK and VP, assuming that they can continue forward with similar records throughout the course of the day here. But for North on this one, they do actually split themselves up. More than likely, you're going to see this leading into some kind of an A split. The only exception to that would be if Simple gets a massive amount of kills when they try to push themselves through the connector, and we haven't already seen them drop back in there. So it's all quiet on the field for right now, but the plan already seems set up for North.
If North go on to win this, that means they would have beaten both VP and Na'Vi on Cobblestone. Maybe that should be a ban, an insta-ban against North in the future. While they're this hot and they have this streak going on Cobblestone. Of course, Na'Vi could turn this around. They could stabilize. It's looking less and less likely as time goes on. There's Edward again, though. He's going to get burnt out of position. In actual fact, it's the bullet that puts him down from MSL's AK. Guardian on top of the tree. He's putting down some serious hurt of his own, and Flamey comes in to help him out. It's all on MSL now. No kills going to be coming through to him. A solid hold by Na'Vi. And they desperately need a 5th round. If they get 5 rounds, pistol, yeah, this game's back on again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, still having enough firepower, of course, for the final round. Back into it. North will rebuy into this one. Unfortunately, just a little bit of a whiff off there as they try to push themselves in towards Broken Wall, and just didn't really work out. So, gonna wipe that one clean and buy into this final round here, as we'll take a look and see what they'll do for the push. Splitting themselves up again. They've already got 4 guys outside of the mid connector, so it's heavy presence there, and there's essentially 0 presence over towards like Broken Wall push this time, which is fairly uncommon as North has been relying on that quite heavily for their pushes throughout most of this half before now.
Simple aggro and nades. It's going to be joined by Flamey. A little bit more passive though, a little bit more deep on the site, looking towards the long side. Very standard thus far from both teams, but it looks like we are going to see action in mid. Cajun B coming through. Config in the meanwhile is going to be lurking on the other side of the map, and the smoke is going to keep the North team at bay for the time being. That flashbang as well allows Simple to go back into the corner again and to put down some serious fire if they were to push him. He also has a flash out for potential pop. You need to be careful about this, the North.
Flamey's pushing himself forward too, but oh, Simple finally goes for that peek and mid-connector, but the timing on it does not play out for him. Right into the face of Cajun B, and he's on point with the shot. That is going to reveal the fact that there is a bit more of a heavier presence inside of that mid-connector, though, so I think it's actually scared off North a little bit. They're going to back up from this position now. The bomb's being sent around over into the B halls. And this could work. I mean, again, it's 2-2 split right now, but C's is off B site. He's kind of that leaning player in between either one. And MSL is going to be doing a brilliant job of still selling this as an A play, too. As he's pushing back in, he's picked up that first kill. Even Guardian started to rotate off until he heard these footsteps just now. So North will push in, and all they're really going to have to deal with is Guardian. MSL even has the flank lined up a little bit. Guardian manages that, but then gets destroyed by Config. So there we go. That's full site control here for North. Not leaving themselves a whole lot of time, granted, but Na'Vi now have to try and retake 2v4.
Edwards put down one. No more will be coming through. North 11-4 halftime score on Cobblestone. 20-6 is AZ. That's quite the shift that he's put in. And now North have every chance at not only getting themselves to a 2-1 scoreline, but knocking Na'Vi to 2-1 on top of that.
And so now with AZ leading the charge here for North, and Config also helping out quite a bit too. MSL also having himself quite a few good rounds too. The real problem for Na'Vi, as I think we've already brought up more than once, is that, you know, we've seen Flamey showing up to the table finally, but where is everyone else? Again, you're looking at it, you combine like any other 2 players in the team, and they still don't have enough kills to match up to what Flamey has here. At 16 and 13, the next highest player is Edward, down at 7 and 14. Everyone else in the squad has 6 kills. It's very underwhelming at the moment from Na'Vi, and obviously this means if Flamey goes down first, then there isn't a whole lot of firepower behind that. Guardian's gonna die first in this round. Edward followed up as Magic just picking them off one by one over there out from A-Long. Now here on the B bomb site, Flamey's dead. So all you got here is Seized and Simple to work with.
Seized and Simple, and plus look where Magisk is. He's on the monument in mid, and he's gonna get the drop on Simple. Oh no, Magic's not like this. He could have easily had the frag, but it goes horribly wrong. At least he gets the information for his team that both of them were last seen in mid, heading towards T-spawn. So it will allow North to now take more aggressive positions across the map to stop the push. But yeah, that was a little bit hard to watch, especially as Majors is a guy you expect to probably land both those kills.
He got 2 before that though, so.
He did, yeah, we'll let him off.
He earned his weight already. As long as the rest of the team finishes off the job, it's not too much done. What's interesting, though, is that instead of these last 2 on Na'Vi playing this together, they're actually going to split. Cease is going to go drop, and Simple's going to execute over here through long. So it is just your usual A split, of course. But Regardless, on the pistol round, playing it separately is going to be a bit risky. Sees, though, opens things up, gets that first kill. Doesn't account for his backside, though, but now Simple alone. He does pick up the trade onto MSL. He's got this into a 1v2 and a 1v1 on the site, but looked away for a moment there. So Config, in that opportunity, he's going to shut down Simple, and North will control the pistol.
This is where Na'Vi have got to turn on that legendary status that teams, players fear and that people admire, from spectators through to fans. It's got to come here, and it's got to come now. If it doesn't, North are going to be firm favourites to take this map. And what a result it would be too. And again, this would be two massive teams, two top tier teams that they've taken down Cbblestone in Group B if they were to win it. But Flamey and Guardian are going to try and make that comeback a reality. And it has to start somewhere. Every journey starts with one step, and this could very well be it for Na'Vi. Na'Vi will not be going their way though.
They're going to try to force their way up over here onto the A site. It has actually worked to a certain degree as they do push their way back in. So they find quite a few kills out of nowhere, seemingly. And with that, Config is left as the last man standing. And Na'Vi, the brute force tactics pay off. They get themselves up onto A, and, well, they're going to fight back a little bit. An upset here on the second round, taking away North's pistol victory.
Config is trying to try and save the M4. No real need for Na'Vi to force this one either. Their economy is not in a great place, so I think both teams will be relatively happy just saving at this point. Expendable weapons of the UMP and MP7 maybe could go in first. I think Simple is that idea. He's trying to check every single corner. But this will be the first of many rounds required for Na'Vi to start to bring this one back. They have also taken a couple of M4s away from North, so that's going to bolster their blinds the next round that little bit more. And with 3 players on $1,400 and MSL about $1,500, I think we are going to see some pistols picked up here for North and some Kevlar on top of it.
Oh yeah, the usual responses coming back in. North with a lead like this, I mean, if they can chase it a little bit, then they're certainly going to want to, as this can crush Na'Vi right from the beginning of the half, destabilize their economy to a crazy degree if they can consistently win these 2 rounds. And that is going to be the key here to allowing them to grow their lead even more. So plus, even if so, obviously the CT side, you know, the war of attrition is eventually going to lead to them just not having enough cash flow to continue to do this. But still, it's going to progress the scoreline up and allow them to keep a very similar lead. Now, look at this boost up. Config didn't actually finish the kill there, so I was a bit worried for a second. But he does end up following through. He takes down Seized and gives them a 5v4 advantage right from the start, making good work of that rifle, but risky use considering they boosted it right over top. And if they lost it, that was the only big gun they had.
Still going to be a big journey, though, for North to pick it up from here. Asking a lot from them. Slow round for Na'Vi. They don't want to give away any more kills. The early aggression may have put them on their tiptoes. I'm a little bit surprised that Config hasn't maybe traded that gun with someone else with a bit more health. I was going to say maybe to Magus, but Magus is actually playing on the other side of the map because he's on 100%, whereas Config's down to 60. Of course, playing completely separate areas.
And AZ's only like 77, so it's not that much better. Well, we will see Na'Vi push themselves over here towards Broken and drop now. Obviously, Guardian's going to be a little bit subconscious of Config's position, considering that he kind of moved in and wrecked his teammate earlier. But now as they push out towards Broken, Cajun B hides in the deeper cubby now, waiting to see if Na'Vi are going to go for that check on it. Swinging around the corner, Edward immediately destroys Cajun. Simple takes out AZ, then Config follows through. 3 quick kills from Na'Vi. That's what they needed to see to be able to close out this round without any further trouble, and that's what they're going to get. Nicely done on the recovery there after losing Seized at the beginning.
Yeah, he hit them on the head. Solid recovery. That's what they were looking for, really. Sure, it would have put a chill down their spine, but they did manage to stabilize. 6-round deficit. North will have nothing into this one. This should be a gimme, a freebie for Na'Vi, as North have only got 1 deagle. It is in the hands of Config, who's very good with this weapon. And it's asking a lot, although he is moving to the side of the map that it appears Na'Vi are about to explode out of. How is your deagle looking here, Config? Can you pick anything up here? Not quite, but he does do a lot of damage to 2 players, enough that AZ can finish them both off with his USP. From here on out, though, it should be Na'Vi just closing the guillotine over the head of North.
Down to Magus now as they do eliminate MSL coming in on that flank, and Magus again just hugging this wall here to give him a little bit of a better angle to play with against Na'Vi pushing him, even backing up a bit further to hunt for a headshot angle here, but Flamey's feet kind of getting in the way of shooting Edward. It's not going to be as easy as he would have liked. And yeah, again, not really much to save here necessarily. Just trying to whittle away and hope he can get lucky with the headshot, but it won't be the case. And Na'Vi continue to push forward. Now 5 rounds behind North. But after all this saving, we are going to see another investment coming out from North.
Indeed we shall. Config finishes the buy with another M4. Did have 5,300, so could have potentially dropped an AWP. Or picked one up for himself. Decides against it. Again, maybe a bit of confidence showing now that Cajun's not really feeling the AWP as much as he usually would. Just preferring to stick with that M4 wherever possible. Drop zone seems to be the area of contention for Na'Vi for the time being. No one's even over on the other side of the map. This does mean that they're not going to have a complete understanding as to whether they're about to get pinched from behind. They may try and play aggressively sooner rather than later. And yeah, drop control now being assumed. Edward with 2 huge entry frags, opening B wide up, but it's going to be on config with his M4. He can't get it done. Edward's there for another one. That's a ridiculous round. And Magisk has to just scratch his head. I wonder what the hell just happened.
So Magic's now just going to have to peace out, essentially. Na'Vi burst their way through into that round. There's not a single response seen. Little bits of damage going on to Edward, Flamey, and Simple, but that is it. Edward comes out big time in that round. And that will give Na'Vi control of yet another gun round. And well, we're going to see the battle. Oh, C's nicely done there, too. Instantly swings out and finds the clean headshot on the Magis. So no saves at all for North. Everyone gets taken down.
Well, Na'Vi continue their winning ways 4 in a row now. North are going to start to feel the pressure. Start to feel the pinch. As Na'Vi are showing no signs of letting up. Their CT side was rough. They're unable to get consecutive rounds. This is the first time we've seen them get 4 in a row. Up until this point, 2 was the most they got, which was in the middle of the first half. Config close range with the Deagle. Gets tagged up by the nade down to 58. He may try and peek out of there and see if he can claim a kill that way. But instead, a flashbang greets him to the face, and that is the end of his life.
Just is hanging up behind the mid doors here, too. He's going to look for a close angle P250 fight. He gets it. There you go. Simple going down. The flashbang followed through from Flamey. It seemed like it was actually tossed up before Simple had even died, so I'm not sure if there was a miscommunication or something like that with the timing on the push from Simple, but he does kind of just walk into his own death after everything's said and done. Down to a 4v4, but again, keep in mind, North only have these pistols, and Magis now upgrading to an AK.
And we have seen North get into similar positions in previous rounds where Config got an opening pick and Na'Vi were able to stabilize. They have lost the second player, but Edward comes back in with one more of his own. 3-on-2 in favor of Na'Vi, the group leaders as it stands. 45 seconds to try and execute on the site. Cajun B's going to use that smoke to his advantage. And Magisk with the Kevlar and the AK tapping from long range. Absolutely nothing. Uncharacteristic from Magisk, who is bottom fragging for North. He's one of those guys that you really do expect to be a star player for the Danes. Instead, it will be a timeout. And it is called by Na'Vi, so I'm assuming this is tactical, but I'm not entirely sure.
That kind of a lead really shouldn't need to be tactical, or with them kind of on the comeback swing, it shouldn't need to be tactical. But we are about to go into another gun round, so they maybe want to try something different. I just want to explain it really quickly here. That or they're just playing with North, which there's always that.
Yeah, that was my confusion as well, because you've just won 5 rounds in a row. You don't want to stop that momentum, but nothing's came in chat about a technical or not, so I'm not entirely sure. But as you say, maybe it's just a case of, okay, North, we know we're going to have a really good buy now. Let's just try and, you know, somewhat chill out a little bit, discuss a couple things, where we're going to hit next round, keep North on their tiptoes, that sort of thing.
It's not just the round soup. Look at the money that Na'Vi have built up. I mean, North are not going to have an easy time just pushing forward up to 16 rounds as they trade. It's not like they need to trade one round and Na'Vi get immediately broken anymore. 14k on Flamey, 10k on Edward, 9.8k on Guardian, and then decent amounts on Simple and C's as well to buy in for at least 2 times. So they basically have infinite money to rebuy until their losing bonuses stack back up. North, unfortunately, have built themselves up a very tough situation. But the pause will get canceled, and we'll see what Na'Vi do bring to the table, if they're going to try anything special after that pause. As North are reinvesting here, and we have another gun run from them as well.
Quick update as well, just before we get back into the action here. The other stream, the other match, VP v SK, is 12-5 in favor of VP, who are looking like they're just about to take a 13-5 lead on the T side of Inferno. So SK struggling once again. That would put them at 3 losses.
Na'Vi again, opening with generally what we do expect on this map. It's your default opener, so nothing super crazy here. usual smokes and whatnot being deployed by North over there towards Broken Wall too. So just blocking that off. They're not too keen on trying to move in for any intel anytime soon. We do have Cajun up. He'll reapply the smoke a bit deeper this time actually. So he may go for the peek with that smoke in check, just to discourage anyone from jumping out from the doorway and surprising him. They've got 2 players stacked in the back. The Molly is going to burn Guardian. I think Cajun had the connection lined up regardless, even if the Molly didn't finish the job. Simple tries to peek for a response, but Cajun is there again, and he picks up the frag. Now we're up to 2. Already down for Na'Vi. They're going to try to swing back out. AZ waiting below, but it doesn't matter. Flamey swings in, survives, just barely in that scenario. Makes it out with 3 HP, but he picks up the kill on AZ and brings us into a 3v4, and a very tentative one, as these guys are spread out all over the map.
Absolutely. And Magisk has even got to move on around the back as well. So he has a perfect opportunity to take down C's, to get the bomb dropped out in the open. And now Flamey's position on very low health is basically useless. Config spins around. If he got the kill, that's one thing, but his position would have been instantly known. North have stopped the 5-round rot. Finally, they get themselves another CT round and move back to 4 rounds of the lead.
Like I said before, though, Na'Vi built themselves up a huge bank, so they're buying right into this one like it's no issue at all. And back up to the Out for Guardian, full utility sitting behind it. Same thing for everybody else in the squad. North have to repeat this. Basically win it out through pure gun rounds at this point forward. Na'Vi again, same opener. All 4 out of 5 of their players working their way inside of those B halls while they keep Guardian outside to watch for a long aggression.
Whereas previously, Na'Vi had stacked everyone together over on the B side of the map if they were going to hit it. This time they do have Guardian watching the backside, and that could be as a result of Magisk consistently trying to push around the back of them and getting a couple kills. I mean, the last one he got the kill on Seized, which put them in a horrible place. So I think he is going to hang around there for the time being. He's looking to try and be a real nuisance as Flamey goes right into drop zone. Another kill has came through, but then Magisk and MSL both answer back. It's a 3-on-3. In actual fact, the scales have been tipped in favor of North for a couple seconds before C sprays down on Config, but he is low and trying to push up B by himself.
KJB's got to be very, very careful with the timing on this one. The flashbang thankfully works out, and the smoke being deployed here blocks not only his vision off for C's, but also blocks his own vision. This is a C's case against Cajun here. So neither one's going to be able to spot the other. Edward is working on a crunch, and in the meantime, Magisk is out again in that courtyard. He really loves that area of the map. Well, he spots Caesar, and now he's in a race. He's got to be careful and watch his left side. That nade's going to hit down to 68, but he gets the kill. And now he and his teammate are back together here. There's going to be nothing protruding between them. And Cajun, well, there we go. Sinks that last shot, too. Edward tries to get way too aggressive there and goes right into the barrel of the op.
The most mind-blowing thing about this, just to go back to stats again, is if you were going to say, right, Na'Vi are going to win this game, who are the 2 players that you're looking at? You'd probably say Guardian, you'd probably say Simple. Combined between the 2 of them, they have less kills than Flamey on his own. They've got 20 kills, 10 each, Flamey's on 24. I mean, neither of them have really shown up today on this map.
Well, unfortunately, they have not. And now, taking a look again to see if there's going to be any innovation on the strategical side from Na'Vi. It's not looking likely again. It's just this default opener every single time. And that seems to be what they've gone for once more. As all their players are stacked up. We may turn this finally into something a little bit different, though, as this is looking like the makings of a drop split. Since we can see C sitting at the edge and a lot more pressure being deployed to the mid-connector. Thing is, though, is they did spot the large mass of players over actually towards that mid-connector. MSL gets the Kobe against Guardian. So we're back to an even 4v4. And also C's already having the position in drop. Again, he could surprise with this one, trying to cut off the rotators before they can assist in stopping that A push. The only one that's on the site currently is MSL, and he's at 18 HP.
AC being found out is a big scalp to claim. But the back of the site is MSL, and even though he's incredibly low, he still comes out with a kill. He's done his job. The issue now, though, is that Config is in prime position. He is by himself. It's going to be quite a while before Cajun wraps his way all the way around through connector to mid to help his teammate out. But he's okay to wait. He's even okay if Flamey gets this plant. We're getting towards the finish line now. They really don't care about that. What they care about is clutching. Cajun is going to switch to the M4. He had the AWP originally and come up through long, while Flamey's 50 HP and AK is all that stands between RV and a 6-round deficit. And that nade has damage written all over it. Down to 19 goes Flamey, finished off by Cajun. And he'll go back and scamper and get his AWP for the next round while Config defuses 15-9, 6 map points.
It is North going up to map point here now for Na'Vi. Well, taking a look at it again, still having the sustainability to buy into this next round here. So we will see another pickup from them, but now they have to stop it. Now they have to run 6 straight perfect rounds to be able to take this into OT if they want to keep their own group stage record perfect here. Again, up 2-0, but looking likely that they would go down 2-1. And now that would actually tie them with North's record, too. As they're currently 1-1, so this would make the group very, very interesting, because then that would put us in a 3-way tie position for first place. Cloud9 would also sit at the same exact record.
Just when you think you finally started to figure out the group, the plot thickens. And everything is turned on its head. 2 ops in play, 3 ops in play, pardon me. 2 of them are on the side of Na'Vi. Now Simple has one of his own, clearly trying to mix things up. Not filling it with the AK. He's peering down on B long. Smoke reads him. Actually bounces off his head. And now Steve's going to take this opportunity to push right outside a window. There is MSL waiting there, but he switches to a nade. It cost him his life. The timing could not have been worse. And now that is going to put so much pressure on the shoulders of Magus. Not only does he have multiple players pushing his location from long, which he's about to find out, but he also had another one which he knew was coming around the back of him on balcony. So it looks like North will concede this, and Na'Vi will need to win the next 5 rounds in a row to take us to overtime.
Yeah, Easy tried to switch himself pretty quickly over there towards the doorway to hold that off, but it just happened too quickly, and North were not able to do anything about that. Well, we can see the... Oh, that's awkward. Config swipes his way over in towards T-spawn there and spots 2 enemies. I don't think Na'Vi were really expecting to find him in the open there either, so bit of an awkward exchange, but on the repeak, they take him back down, and they know that obviously North were going to go save here, so Cajun B is the last one standing. If he could save this up, that's great. Gives him a little bit of extra power going into the next couple of rounds, but still, there's Guardian on the peak. Both actually missed, but now they know where he's at, and Guardian's even going to be able to find him as he tries to go for the cross back into the halls there, so nothing saved at all for Na'Vi as we go into the next round here. And there's not really enough cash flow to justify a force buy either.
Yeah, it will be an eco. Don't want to be forcing this. They still have a round buffer. They still have a good, I'd say 2 or 3 rifle buys in the next 5 rounds if it does go the distance. As long as they play the economic position properly. CZ and Kevlar and a 5-7. You have a smoke as well, which is going to be in the hands of AZ. Config saying GG. I don't know what that's all about, mate.
Did he really?
Don't count your chickens before they're hatched.
Interesting.
And maybe a bind or something, I don't know. But either way, AC's gone down.
So we'll take him back out. Na'Vi, in theory, going to have a pretty easy time of closing out on this map. We'll maybe see 1 or 2 trades, but nothing fantastic is expected here. Yeah, just picking them off one by one across the map, but all reality here, Cajun B just wants to go out for the duel. Simple. How'd you miss that shot? He's just standing there. He can't find it for some reason, and he's down very low. There's the correction, though. No one dies from Na'Vi, so it's a nice clean round as they get up to 11 here.
Ah, now I understand the context of the GG. It's because they were discussing whether Flamey got flashed. He said a bit, it was long range, and Conf is like, GG.
Oh, okay.
So clearly a bit salty. He got CSGO pretty hard. Another Rico, again, understandable. North have time to burn.
Well, North again are just going to stack their players here over towards the mid connector and out towards A long. They might actually be able to find something with this too, but I think they're going to be a little bit too aggressive. They roll out and look at it. It's a big buffet of frags. Magus just ends up burning, and that is going to be a quick round. 22 seconds total. Na'Vi up to 12 now. I think North just wanted to get through that one and get over to the gun round as quickly as possible, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a gimme. It's a tap out round. Pause. Na'Vi will be calling another tactical. They know that is 2 ecos in a row. They know they're going to be up against a full healthy buy. Config does have 7,200. And again, I think this is maybe giving you a bit of insight as to how Cajun B is feeling right now. Clearly just not wanting the up. As I'm pretty sure Config will go for the M4.
In the meantime, again, Na'Vi's still working with the double up setup here that they've actually been using for a couple of rounds now. Simple picking it up before. Simple, again, though, was having a bit of trouble connecting onto some shots. They were a bit inconsequential, but still, I want to be cautious of that one. He's actually been performing pretty poorly in this matchup. Again, down still at 11 and 17, bottom fragging for the team at this point. Next to Seized up at 13 and 20. It's Edward who really showed up big time here in the second half, as he's now still second, but still Flamey 100% has been the driving force that has kept Na'Vi in this game for so long. and he's sitting at 30 and 17 frags at the beginning of the 28th round, with 27 total being played out. So there's the investment from North's last player finally. Config buys in, and he actually does decide to go for the outplay.
Ah, okay. Is he going to hold on to it, though? That's the question, because typically you'd expect Cajun to use it, and it seems Config will be using it here. He has a good spawn, so maybe peek mids, or maybe just straight up go to B and have a quick peek on the platform. But yeah, it looks like it will be Config AWPing in this round for North.
Well, North again just need this one round to close out on it. They allowed Na'Vi to swing back big time here in the second half. As you can see, it was already a dominant half for North, and they started off with a pistol, but then they threw it away, and it kind of spiraled out of control from that point forward. Na'Vi won like 5 or 6 straight, and then they won the last 3, and it's put them very, very close now. And a possibility for OT. Look at how heavy North have stacked over towards A, though. There's just 3 players, with 2 of them being in suicide steps, and another one watching out for A long. And this seems to align very well. Na'Vi have been really fond of these drop splits. So if they can get in the way of the push from A long and mid, then that's going to be great if they can stop it right there. They're going to contest over here again, down towards suicide steps, but it's all smoked out, so they actually can't really see anything. They pull back a little bit here. Magic spotting one of these players. Edward's going to try to push back in. He hasn't accounted for Cajun B, though. It's a 1-for-1 trade in the area back over here by A long, but now MSL, surprise! There's the second player. He takes down Flamey. And now there's only 2 remaining for Na'Vi. Guardian and Seized have to try and work this in a 2v3 scenario. The bomb hasn't even pushed up to the site yet. MSL, he's going to challenge Seized. That's the bomb gone down. And now Guardian has to clutch.
MSL, the MVP of this round. Oh, God, he could see him partially through the smoke. So there is the bomb being reclaimed. Switching to the assault rifle. And we'll be smoking the cross, but AZ's already on the site. Will Guardian realize this? This will be some next level mind games if he decides to smoke and then rotate through it. Yeah, he seems to think maybe already players on the A site, but he's checking every corner just to be doubly safe.
He might just go right into the cross spray, though. He's got to be very careful about that. He's seeing Config. AZ peeks out, so now he knows where they both are, though, so he can play around this. Finds the first one, trying to isolate it. He does get tagged in the process. Now down to 16. He has to go into it. There's the first one, though. He did isolate the first 1v1. AZ leaps out, and he gets the kill, though. 16-12 is going to be the final score here, and it is North that will claim it, sending Navi's record down to 2-1, and North will tie them, along with the same record for C9.
So as it stands now, after that result, we have Na'Vi 2-1, Cloud9 and North also 2-1, VP 1-2. They are currently playing in the head against SK, although SK are mounting a bit of a comeback. And then 1-2 is Heroic. So, I mean, this group is completely open, as we said a few times. That was Na'Vi's chance to put some daylight between themselves and the rest of the pack, but they have faltered. North, both their wins have came to Cobblestone. Surely you just ban this against them now. Do not play North on Cobblestone.
Yeah, so Navi's right back in the chaos pit here. Well, we have one more game scheduled for this stream, folks. That's what we currently... actually, no, excuse me. We're going to be sticking with Navi, I should say, as they're going to be taking on Heroic next. That game is going to be coming up in just a few minutes. So we are going to go to a short break really quickly, but as soon as we have that ready for you, we'll be bringing it back. So stick with us, and we'll be back with more action here from the B stream on the IEM Katowice group stages.
Do you want to feel like a